Today I'm going to go on a bit of an exploring adventure to a new location that showed up on PlugShare not too long ago. Duke Energy is the local electrical company, and they've been putting in these things called park and plug locations, which are their answer to EV charging stations. They run the locations through the Shell Recharge network, so they don't take care of that, but they do put in the equipment and maintain the network to some extent. And if you go on their website, you could see where you could be a host for their equipment. So I'm not quite sure the relationship between host and Duke Energy, but they're a very large energy company in the Southeast. Their footprint covers a pretty large amount of territory. And this location is not only me going to do a bit of an adventure road trip to check out a new EV charging station, which has recently become kind of like a diversion for me on the weekends. But it's also a location that we can cross through with some regularity. The cities of Charlotte, North Carolina, and Asheville, North Carolina have a couple ways of getting between each other. One is Interstate 40, and the other one is US 72 or US 74, which goes through Gastonia and Shelby. So this one is right near the US 74 route into Asheville, which me and my wife do cross through with some regularity as a result of her parents being up in Asheville. So we go visit the fam quite a bit, and this location may be a place that we start to frequent with some regularity, and thought I'd go take a look. Here we go. The city of Charlotte, North Carolina, that I call home, is not
in a quarter mile, use the right lane to take the I-485 outer north ramp to I-77, Huntersville.
It's not really a very strong EV community. I call it EV flyover country. We've got basically 2 superchargers in town. Maybe you can call it 3, depending on what you call in town.
Use the right lane to take the I-485 outer north ramp, then merge onto I-485 outer.
And recently, Tesla announced they're putting in about 3 more within the immediate vicinity. One a little bit north of here, and then another one in the town that we're actually going to in Shelby, North Carolina. So I might stop by and see if that site is got any construction in it either. but it's still not open yet, but that's all right for me. I wasn't really coming here to get a charge. These are all level 2 chargers, so I was just kind of curious to see if it was going to be open, where, you know, maybe on a future trip to and from Asheville it might have been needed, and just try to scope out the site, see where it was off US 74, how far of a dog leg it might have been. And it's not far, it's right off US 74. It's about 3/4 of a mile down the road at a really nice facility, plenty of parking, very safe neighborhood and everything. So we might use this in the future. But there's a Tesla supercharger going into the ground not too far from here, from what I understand. And so I'm going to take the opportunity on the trip home to swing by there and see what that looks like also. So one thing I forgot to mention is that these Duke Energy Park and Plug locations are normally DC fast charger locations. This particular one is just level 2 charging, but most of them do have DC fast chargers. And what's kind of cool about the program is they put those into communities that are underserved and not necessarily on interstates, in order to help EV adoption. Towns like Cherokee, North Carolina, which is way out there in the boondocks. Franklin, North Carolina, which also is not near much of anything. There's one on the way into Wilmington, North Carolina, kind of like in between Charlotte and Wilmington. There's kind of like a lot of no man's land there, and they put one in there, which is nice. So it's a pretty cool program, designed obviously not to help people get from New York City to Miami, Florida on the I-95 corridor. It's helping people in the Duke Energy service area to adopt electric vehicles. And so they put them into the center of smaller communities, like this one here in Shelby, North Carolina. This one's just level 2, as I said, but I was watching a video this morning by, let's see, I think it's No E Michigan, I think is the name of the YouTube channel, where he's talking about using RFID cards in order to start charges. And now, because these Duke Energy Park and Plug locations are often put into underserved communities, there's not always good cell signal. And so I have a Shell Recharge RFID card for that purpose alone, because if I'm using these Duke Energy Park and Plug locations, normally the app gets a little bit glitchy. It's the Shell Recharge app. So I just walk up to it instead and I swipe my RFID card that I have. It costs $5 to get it sent to me, but in my opinion, that's well worth it. So if I'm ever at a location with low cell signal and I don't want to rely on the app, I just take out the card and I swipe it and off I go. And that's a good practice to do with each one of these apps, the EVgo, ChargePoint, Shell Recharge. You can't do it with Electrify America, but it's probably good practice to invest in the RFID cards and keep those in your glove box or something, because you never know when you're going to need them. there's no sign of construction yet of this new supercharger, but boy is it in a nice location. It's close to the Interstate 85, and it's at, as you can see, a Krispy Kreme donut shopping center. Wow. For people who are not familiar, Krispy Kreme is a competitor to Dunkin' Donuts, and I personally prefer them. They're really freaking good donuts, deliciousness. And the other nice thing is, from what I understand, after the White House negotiation with the Biden administration and Tesla, that all new superchargers are at least likely going to have the new Magic Dock supporting Tesla and non-Tesla vehicles. My understanding of the negotiation is that a portion of the existing superchargers will be retrofitted with Magic Dock, something like 10%, 20%, something like that. But new superchargers like this one here will be getting Magic Dock. So really nice. Charlotte is definitely in need of more superchargers. Atlanta has like 10 superchargers around its metropolitan area, and Charlotte only has like 2 in the immediate city. You could probably say 3 or 4 in the surrounding area, but there's this one going in and then 2 more going into the north. And I'm thinking those are going to be V4 superchargers with the new Magic Docks built in. So really nice. Anyway, gonna be heading home now.